Why can't my child read these words even though they're being taught phonics? Let's get to it. I'm Katie Huller with KidsCanReadAndWrite.com, and I want to help you understand a little bit more about why your child might be struggling to sound out words. So when I test kids, I ask these words, and this is often what I get. So let's talk about why leaf might turn into laugh, or smoke might turn into smock, or melting might turn into ting, or shout might turn into something like sut, shut. Let's talk about it. So a lot of times when kids are taught phonics, they're taught to sound out the words. Well, perfect, we want them to do that. The problem is, even if they know all of their letters and sounds, that doesn't mean they can necessarily sound out words. One, they need a really good blending technique to go along with that. And two, they need to know something that I call the tricks. I call them the tricks because they're letters that work together to make new sounds. They don't say what we've taught the kids the alphabet letters say. And so what happens is, if your kids only know letters and sounds and either have a poor blending technique or they don't know the tricks, guess what? They're going to get tricked. They're not going to be able to read the word. So let's talk about these words. So let's say your child starts to read this word and makes a sound This is what I hear a lot of times from kids who are struggling and who come to me for help. They look at this word and they go and they're working really hard to make those sounds. And it sounds like l, f. What does that sound like to you? Laugh. L. Or ul. Some do l, some do ul. Ul, f. Ul, f. Laugh. Sounds like laugh. Now what they don't know is the E and the A say E when they're together. That's a trick. If you don't know that the E and the A usually say E when they're together, yes, they can say S sometimes, like bread and head, but usually they say E. And that should be our first go-to as a beginning reader. When we see E and A, we want to say E. That's the two vowels walking. First one says its name. Hey, remember me, my name is E. Second one just listens. So when you read it, you get leaf, leaf, instead of laugh, which sounds like laugh. All right? See why I call them the tricks? They trick kids all the time. Now let's look at this word. So what happens with a new person who comes to me for testing, I'll usually hear smock, smock. So they might say smock, or they might change it to smock. They might even know E doesn't say anything when he's at the end. So they might say smock, smock. Now, some kids, do you hear all that distance between each sound? This is what I hear a lot. Every sound is individual. Smock. So what I tell the kids is, no, we don't want to sound it out that way. Remember how we talked about the good blending technique? You need a good blending technique. Whenever you get to a vowel, that is the glue. You need to glue that onto that next sound. Now the other thing is, remember how we talked about tricks being in words? When there's an E at the end, it's not just silent. It bosses the closest vowel, only the closest one. And it can usually only get over one letter to reach it. Occasionally it will get over two, but usually it's just one. So when he does that, he says, say your name, vowel. So whatever the vowel is that he reaches has to say its name. So the O will say O. So we want to go sm, blend them together, sm, and then oak, smoke, smoke. That's how you read the word. All right, let's look at this one. So when the kids come to me for testing, I often hear something like this. O, t, n, g. Do you know what word that is? If you weren't looking at it, could you hear it if you went o, t, n, g? Sounds like gibberish to me. I wouldn't hear it for sure. So here's what we want to do. We want to be dragging that vowel. Remember, we need a good blending technique, and we need to know the tricks. ing is one of our tricks. It doesn't say ing or even ing. It says ing. Sounds like an E is here. That's why it's a trick, because you have to know to say ing, not ing. You might be able to adjust it if you say ing. It's not the trickiest trick there is, but it's still a trick. And it helps kids so much when they can say ing when they see that ing. So let's see what this would say. We're going to glue this vowel onto here, and we can either break it where we take that trick ending off, that suffix off, or what I usually tell kids is just glue that vowel onto the next sound and then break the word. It just keeps it easier for kids who already have too much to think about. So we're going to go L, mel, and then we're going to do the next part. Ing, ting. Now when we put it together, we have to remember this part, and if your child forgets it, have them sound it out again. It's okay. They have to train their brain to recognize it, to know it. So let them keep sounding it out as long as their brain needs them to remember it. If you have memory issues, it's going to go pretty quickly. You're going to have to train your brain to hang on to that little chunk when you get to the next sound. And that's part of the reading process. So don't give up and go, oh, my child just can't remember that long. Just let them sound it out again and again until finally they'll go, oh, I remember it. It's mel. Okay, so m-el, mel, ing, ting, melting. See how that is? That's how we get that first part with the second. Because when you're making too many sounds and they're all separated, like in the beginning example, o, t, n, g. If you don't have a great memory for all those sounds, you might remember the ting, which is why some people will say that, or you might remember none of it, which is why other people go, I don't know. And then we go to the next word. So let's see about this one. So if you're sounding out part by part and you go s, ah, t, s, ah, ut, sut, shut, they might guess after that, trying to make it into a word. And this is what happens to a lot of kids who aren't taught proper phonics. Phonics is so much more than just knowing your letters and sounds. Like I said, you have to have a really good blending technique where you're dragging that vowel into that next sound, putting it together, then moving on to the next part. That helps kids with auditory issues, memory issues, get those big long words together accurately. And accuracy is so much more important than speed. We don't want to worry about speed while our kids are learning to read. Slow is smooth. We want to do it as slowly as they need to, okay? So don't worry about speed, just worry about accuracy. The other thing, remember, you have to have that good blending technique, but you also have to know the tricks. This word has the SH trick in it. Remember, tricks are letters that work together that make new sounds. Sounds we don't teach our kids a lot of times that these combinations make. So when they sound out, they go sa-ha, but really it's shh, shh. Okay, so if we know that, that's going to change a lot about this word. Now also, O loves to reach over and pinch U and W. Whenever he gets right next to them, he'll reach over and pinch the U or the W. So you hear ow. Okay, so that's ow, because the O pinches the U. So now when we read it, it's going to change a lot. We're going to go shh, out, Do you hear the word? Shout. We're not going to get sut, or shut, because we're not going to get tricked. We know the tricks. So remember, if your kids are sounding out letter, and they're not recognizing those letter combinations like the ing, or seeing the sleepy E and making it boss the vowel, or knowing about EA or EE or other two vowel combinations, or the O pinching the U. Notice that's two vowels, but he's pinching the U because when O gets next to U or W, he pinches. We have some others like two O's say ooh, cool, because they're looking through their binoculars. But you've got to be teaching those tricks. If your kids don't know the tricks or they don't have a good blending technique, they're going to have a hard time sounding out words. So teach your kids a good blending technique, teach them the tricks, and if you need help doing so, go to either kidscanreadandwrite.com and find the Black Belt Reading Program, or you can go to kidscanonlineacademy.com. The Black Belt Reading Program is there also. I also have it for sale on Gumroad. So all these things, I don't know if you can't find them, contact me or leave a comment below. I'll help you find them. We go through all of the tricks. I do videos like this teaching each and every one. We go over spelling, we go over reading. We have reading words, reading sentences, writing words, writing sentences, fill in the blank sentences, matching words. I've got words for you to call out to work on for spelling and sentences, and it just has everything you need to teach your kids what they need to know to be successful readers and writers. So if you need help, let me know. If you have a question, leave it below. I'll try to do a video to explain the answer for you. If I can't, I'll try to at least respond to you. So let me know if you have questions, guys, and good luck. Let's get your kids reading and writing. Let's make them black belt readers and writers. See you soon. Thanks for joining me.